Hey guys, welcome to Monkey Business. Well, actually, Crazy Ape's new warehouse. We're on top of a bunch of containers, and this is another old trampoline. We're going to measure up for some replacement parts. This is actually the trampoline we dropped the car on. It's fully supporting the weight of this fully functional car. The Baja Bug sitting right down there. We picked it up with a giant wheel loader that we borrowed from local brand tractor, which is pretty awesome. We put it on there, pulled it back off. I gave it a good bounce, and it still works awesome. And this is one that's been outside for like 8 years. We built this trampoline back in 2015, 2016, sold it locally. Last summer, I saw this thing pop up on Facebook Marketplace, and I said, we gotta buy it. We gotta buy it so we have another testing tramp, because it's nice to bring big things that are back that are pretty old and see how they still function. So this guy, you could see actually the stitching faded from years in the sun, still held strong. We put a freaking car on it. That thing weighs over 2,000 pounds. It's got like modified with big rims and engine and extra stuff and stereo. It's not your little fake car. But anyways, I'm excited. So this is our brand new facility, production facility. We milled everything right inside those four walls. And this is something fun we thought we would do, is set up a big display area up here on top of a bunch of containers facing the ring road, which is a big perimeter road in our city. So we can wave at people and do cool things like bounce on trampolines 20 feet up in the air. Well, it's like 15. So if you have an old trampoline that looks something like this, I'll give you the measurements, I'll give you the know-how, how to measure it. Give us a shout and we'll get you replacement parts. Because back in the day, we didn't really write our name on them. Now we have little barcodes affixed to one of the leg collars. And that makes it super easy. But for these old trampolines, well, you kind of just got to measure them. Send us a picture, a couple measurements. Honestly, this is going to be a whole series of videos under this old trampoline that we're going to do, because we've been buying up a lot of old trampolines, and we're going to set them up here and do little videos like this. Now, while we don't make this trampoline system anymore, it's part of our Legacy series. We're still making all the parts for them. As we can see, we got parts right up here. I obviously already know what it is, so I'm going to show you how to measure it, but then we're going to throw the new pads on it, and it's going to live up here and look beautiful. That's actually more of the stuff we make now. That's a full multi-court system, part of our multi-tramp family. Pretty awesome. And that is a 17 by 30 multi-court. And that thing got a full test fit, and now it's getting packed up, cleaned, and sent to Phoenix, Arizona. So first things first, you want to make sure, if you don't have a jumping surface on this trampoline, all these good old trampolines, they mostly attach with slip fit connections, which are great technology. We still use that today. Basically, you have one pipe that's been crimped in so it fits back inside of itself. Now, the problematic part is if you just have a frame set up, you don't have anything that's tensioning it, it might be a bit sloppy. Like you might have a bit of a gap here and on the other side and on the other sides, or if you're like an octagon or a 12-sided, you might have multiple gaps around there. So there's a quick fix. Throw the bed on with most of the springs. That'll suck everything up nice and tight. You'll get accurate measurements when we take our measurements for these things. If you don't have the jumping surface, that's got a massive rip in it, or not holding tension, or just gone, then use ratchet straps. That's the nice, easy, quick fix. You just gotta throw a couple on, snug it up until just those gaps disappear, and you're golden. Now, we basically need 4 measurements. 2 for a jumping surface, 2 more for a pad. If we're measuring for a pad on this style of surface, we don't care about these things. This is the big external truss that helps reinforce the long sides of the rectangular, but we don't care about that. We care about the main frame system. This is for a jumping surface. It's really simple. Have a buddy hold it on the outside of one edge and run across to the other side and get the accurate measurement. That's for a frame. Outside of frame, that's for a safety pad. Outside of frame to outside of frame. And then the same thing this way, and that's the 2 measurements. That's all you need. Well, and a picture, because there are different models. Some of them are angled corners like this, some of them are curvy corners, and there's a couple different widths. This was famously referred to as the 11 by 17. Lots of them are made in Canada. A couple different people over the years. Actually, like 4 different manufacturers have made these, us included. So there's a bit of variety out there. Some of the frames are painted blue, some of them are repainted, some of them are black, some of them are yellow. Lots of things. So a picture is worth 1,000 words, and it'll help us have you take fewer measurements, but at the end of the day, for this type of trampoline, those are the 2 measurements that matter the most. And then when you're going for your jumping surface, you do the same thing, but you measure off of here. So this is the wiggle rod, that we call it. Don't use holes in your trampoline because holes in a trampoline are just dumb for a lot of reasons. But what we want to know is where that spring hooks in, right there, to the opposite side. That's the measurement, that's what we need. That lets us know the inside suspension system. So again, go for your width, go for your length from those inside points, and based on that, we basically know what trampoline you have, and we can quote you the corresponding parts. Now, a couple other things we need to know if we don't know what trampoline you have, because it might have been something different. There are lots of them that are made in the States as well, that are similar but different. And another important one for a jumping surface is the spring itself. But you need to measure a spring, a good spring, that's off the trampoline and closed. Now, we put a 2,000 plus pound car on this thing, and these 8-year-old springs are still good. You want a spring that fully closes, right? There's no gaps in the coils. Give it a good flick, snaps back, and we don't want the measurement of the spring on here. We want the measurement of the spring off of here. And you want to measure from the top of the top hook to the, well, basically just measure from there to there. The longest way you could possibly measure the spring. And that's great. If you want to send us a picture of the spring next to the tape measure, that works too. A couple other important things. Count the number of springs on the short side and the long side. So I know that this has 19 springs across here, not including these, we'll get to those. Everything that's just straight off here, there are 19, and there are 39 off this side. Then we're going to ask you if you have corner springs. That's these guys. At a 45-degree corner, obviously there's 4 of them, it's a rectangle, and that's how those work. Now this is a Canada Trampoline, 11 by 17. Canada Trampoline was us, CrazyApe, before we were branded. And our frames are typically 117 inches wide from outside of frame to outside frame. The short side, again, not including this guy, we don't care about this guy. And 201, 202 inches lengthwise from here to there. That's pretty much it. Guys, making good progress. I'll throw this pad on and I'll do a little closing. All right, we're done. I didn't actually do the pads on all the way because I'm kind of lazy. Just kidding. We actually have to put this thing on its side because you can't see us from the road. Exactly. Anyways, that's a bit of history. This guy and myself own this company. We bought it from a guy named Pius back in 2012, and we've continued making these trampolines that have been made here for almost 50 years. So we're pretty proud about that legacy. Oh, by the way, that's the world's biggest trampoline, production backyard trampoline, the Goliath 2.0. And we also put the car on that. And we bounced with it. It's pretty cool. Believe it or not, I'm not actually the biggest fan of heights, despite being up here. So I'm gonna get off and show you guys a little bit how this pad system works. So there are 4 different ways that these pads attach together. First of all, you get them lined up. You got a little Velcro flap there. Sticks the pads together. That's nice. We also have these things called wind anchors. They are seatbelt webbing. Literally the webbing you have in your seatbelt on your car. That goes through a single spring like this, and that helps anchor the pad to the suspension system, because that way a big gale force wind, or just, you know, we're from the prairies. We get wind. We're pretty flat. Doesn't help that we're 15 feet off the ground in an open area. So that helps anchor it down. The wind's gonna flap at it, but it's not gonna rip it off. Unless you're ripping your entire spring off, which would be quite challenging. And there are 8 of those things throughout the pad set. Next up, we have 20 of these little cinch straps. These things wrap around the frame, like so. You run into the wiggle rod where you can, and that just, you know, cinch nice and tight. Boom, done, good. Lastly, this part is kind of a pain in the butt, but it's this. It's got a skirt all the way around it with a nylon braided rope inside, and, well, you want to tie those together nice and snug. You tie it loose here, go to the next one, you pull it tight, tie that connection, go to the next point, tie it tight all the way around. What that does is that makes this smaller than the outside. It all sucks and puckers up, and it just like sticks to the frame. Not only does that provide you a ton of wind resistance, it keeps your pads nicely in place if you're bouncing on it and having fun and the kids are sliding into them. It keeps them so they don't do this or, you know, push in further. They just they stay nice and firmly in place because they're secured all the way around. But it is a pain in the butt. And if you winterize your trampoline, unless you take it all off as one big mass and try and fold it all together, which doesn't work very well, you kind of have to do that every single year again, which is kind of a pain. Sorry. I inherited this design. It's what I've had to work with. But fun fact, while we don't offer this trampoline system anymore, we offer that one, which is very expensive. But we redesigned. We looked at all the cool designs that have been made over the last 50 years, took all the best parts, took our new system as well, and everything we've learned. We built trampoline parks since 2012, basically. 2013 we opened our first one. And everything we've learned in commercial equipment, backyard equipment, professional equipment, done lots of professional gymnastics, stuff for circus, all sorts of cool stuff. And we developed something called our Silverback line, which is, yes, kind of a thing branding, you know, also harkens back to the old Gorilla, the old ape, the way the things of the past. But it's really just a collection of methods of building trampolines that mixed with some modern technology and modern techniques as well, that we put together a very economical system, incredibly durable and more user-friendly to set up and winterize. And the padding system for those, and especially, is much easier to deal with, and I'm proud of that. So we'll have to do some videos on some Silverbacks. There's some on the channel a little ways back, but again, while we don't offer this system anymore, we offer something very similar, and in my opinion, much better. If you're still here, thanks for sticking around. This much kind of longer, drawn-out version of this video than I would have normally made. We'll keep the next ones pretty to the point, but this was the most ubiquitous product with our brand. The 11x17, we made more of these than anything else combined in the years that we built trampolines. This version of the company, which was originally called Canada Trampoline, was started back in 2005, again by a guy named Pius. And I joined the company in 2009, took it over 2012, and my business partner hopped in there with me a year later. So that's the history. This is the awesome product that we built our name on, and was the launch pad for everything we're doing today. All right, guys, monkey business out. Now my least favorite part, getting down. Good thing I'm an owner and don't qualify for EI.